Hello. I am so thankful for this chance to speak publicly about what has happened to our school district and to put a story and a person behind an eliminated position in NPS. I am one of 483 teachers and many other NPS employees who won't be starting a new school year this fall because we've lost our jobs. I think the word job isn't the appropriate word for me because this isn't just my job. Being a teacher is my career. This is what I went to college at UWM for. It's my passion. It's what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Equally important, it's my talent. I'm so proud to stand up here as a currently laid off / former employee from Milwaukee Public Schools. The mailman delivered the news to my door 10 minutes before I left for Riverside High School's graduation ceremony. Honestly, I must have read the letter at least 3 times before I actually understood that I was getting laid off from school. The first thing that I thought of in my mind were my students and how I was not able to give them a proper goodbye. It broke my heart to think that next year my students will be stopping by my classroom like always, expecting to see me, and I'm just not there. The reality is that there are thousands more teachers across the country who share my story. My question is, what is it literally going to take to show that public education works? Not every success can be measured on a test score.
That's right.
There are so many successes that I witness every day. And where is the support for public education? The unregulated bank system did not have to hold a march. Wall Street never required a bake sale. But we're the little people standing up for the smallest citizens of our country. So we'll do what it takes and what we have to do to get it done. Cutting teachers and increasing class size is just the opposite of support. We're asking today that our children are at least as important as our money. Thank you. Moving along, I'd like to announce Megan Petrie, our next speaker.
My name is Megan Petrie. I am a laid-off teacher from Samuel Clemens Elementary. This past year has been life-changing for me. I got engaged, I started planning my wedding, I bought my own home, and then I lost my job. In the midst of putting down payments on venues and celebrating surviving my first year as a homeowner, I received my layoff notice from the district. I don't think I will ever forget how I felt when I opened that really thin, unthreatening envelope. I was beyond shocked when I discovered what was inside. I have worked for Milwaukee Public Schools for 2.5 years. My first half as a teacher was very hard. I was the 8th teacher that my students had that year, and I started in March. I would come home crying almost every day for that rest of that year. It was so challenging. But then at the end of the year, I realized I was crying because I knew I would miss my students. At that point, I knew that I was either crazy or I was a bona fide teacher. The following 2 years I taught for MPS I loved. The students and the staff that I had the opportunity to work with were amazing. My job and my students were a giant part of my life. So then having to share with them on the last day of school that I wouldn't be at Samuel Clemens next year was heartbreaking. All year I had been telling them that I would be checking up on them in 4th grade and I would be here if they needed me. And then I wasn't going to longer be able to do that for them. And so on that last day of school, instead of just saying, have a great summer, I was saying, have a great life. I don't know when I will see you next. Milwaukee Public Schools has a lot of great students. So many amazing staff members, and there's awesome learning opportunities going on every single day. and I'm very sad that next year I will no longer be able to take part in that.
Thank you, you two. The next two teachers were laid off and have been rightly returned to their positions. Somebody's uncle, Joe Brusky, 4th grade teacher from Fairview Elementary.
Hello, my name is Joseph Brusky, and I am a 4th grade teacher at Fairview School, and I'm happy to say that I still am. My name is Joseph Brusky, and I am a 4th grade teacher at Fairview School on the south side, and I've been teaching for 3.5 years. This past year I found out not only how vulnerable my position as a teacher is, but how vulnerable public education is. In the last 5 months, the job I treasure has been put in limbo several times. It all began when I was accessed from my position due to budget cuts. I was shocked, and I felt cheated. Weeks later, my position was restored. I felt like new life had been pumped into me. Then came the layoffs. I was fortunately not laid off in the first round of layoffs, but then weeks later, I was laid off. I received a letter saying I was laid off, and I was crushed. Why was I being forced out of a calling I so desperately was committed to? As I struggled to deal with this new reality, I received a letter a few weeks later saying I was recalled and restored to my original position. Once again, I rejoiced in my fortune, but this time I was much more restrained in my joy, as I was one of only 89 teachers to be called, and nearly 1,000 educators still had not been recalled.